jump. Climb out on the roof, just jump, motherfucker, you a lazy little shit. Why not jump and just fucking quit? It's your own fault, boy, you never did enough. And now you're gonna pay for the fucking shit you say. Victim blaming, mental shaming, always bitching cause I'm gaming. But this shit now I'm proclaiming, and I'm aiming for the house of lies that you built on the hill of the dagger that you staggered my ass with. Now you haggard, I'm so aggro. Call your fucking son a faggot. Why so ragged? You a maggot. See $1 and just grab it from the mouth of the starving reprobate. So much hate, bitch, I needed an escape from the rape of my sanity. Humanity is drained from my motherfucking corpse as I hit the fucking dirt. All the fucking hurt and the shit I can't recall dies with me. All the shame and the failure, I'm a terror. Fuck my mirror, time to fix this fucking error. Yeah, I'm the bearer of this shit, and I wear it on my wrist. Now it's time to cut it out and just grow the fuck up. In my mirror, it's a vision that I see of myself. Damn, I'm looking like my father, so why even bother? Or die for my mother, so I'll never treat another the way that he fucked her. I'll break this damn cycle and jump, 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 motherfucker. Jump, 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 motherfucker. Just jump, 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 motherfucker. Jump, 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 motherfucker. When there's evil in my heart and there's Satan in my veins, I'm insane. Best get stitches in my brain or a cane, cause I can't fucking stand on my own 2 feet. Defeat is my only fucking path. I'ma retreat, can't rest until my brain hits the concrete. Fuck you, I'm just tired of this DC and these lies that you fucking spew, and the shit you put me through, and the shit you fucking do. But sometimes I just wonder if the shit you say is true. I'm just so damn rude and irresponsible to boot, and I'm the fucking reason mama's cutting her wrists open. I just see too much, play too much, got some shit to say too much. Never clean my cage, I must. Such a fuss, boy don't cuss. I'ma fucking take your trust, give to God and make it rust. Time to bust, mustn't lust, gonna leave you in the dust. Live a life that's unjust, into hell you will be thrust. Satan is your just reward, you don't get a fucking sword. All the time you won't be bored, only flames, just rest assured. When my warnings you've ignored, you'll be punished by the Lord. Cast aside you are abhorred, grace will never be restored. Jump, 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 motherfucker. Jump, 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 motherfucker. Just jump, 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 motherfucker. Jump, 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 motherfucker. Just jump, 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 motherfucker. Jump, 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 motherfucker. Just jump, 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 motherfucker. Jump, jump, jump. Yo, 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 what it do? What it do, y'all? Edgy privilege? Yeah, dude. I got edge privilege. I don't know what that means, but sure. How's everyone doing, y'all? How the fuck is everyone doing? I fixed the chat, yo. I did it. It works now. Hopefully it never has issues again. Fuck yeah, dude. How's everyone doing tonight, yo? What up, Annie? We're under the haven, yo. We're actually not under the haven tonight. We're gonna do that call-in show probably on Friday instead. So, yeah. That'll be cool. The fuck is this
Okay. It. No, that's just this. Okay, whatever. It's showing me. You guys can see the whole screen, right? It's showing me some weird shit. I. Okay. Yeah, no, never mind. It is. It's correct. I'm being lied to, yo. I'm being lied to. So how's everyone doing, yo? Hope everyone's having a great night. I'm just chilling with some hopium. Speaking of hopium, yo, looks like Vosh has finally got his Twitch back, yo. Fuck yeah, dude. Vosh back! Vosh back! Vosh back! Vosh is back, yo. He's back on Twitch. And Marilyn Manson, on the other hand, is canceled. Canceled to all high hell. So, damn, yo. Actually, ooh, we could probably take a look at this. Marilyn Manson responds to allegation made by Evan Rachel Wood. Let's see. Let's see what Manson's take is. Let's see. I mean, look, as a fan of Marilyn Manson, I have a vested interest in whether or not an artist I like is canceled or not. Okay, let's see. Marilyn Manson denies abuse allegations as actors rally behind Evan Rachel Wood. So let's take a look at this. Why not? Marilyn Manson responded on Monday. Let's see. Marilyn Manson responded Monday evening to Evan Rachel Wood and several others who accused him of abuse in testimonies released earlier that day on Instagram. On his own Instagram, the musician and actor denied the allegations, calling his accusers' statements horrible distortions of reality. Manson similarly denied abuse allegations in 2018, stemming from an alleged 2011 incident, which he dismissed back then as either completely delusional or part of a calculated attempt to generate publicity. Obviously, my art and my life has long been magnets for controversy, but these recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality, Manson posted Monday on Instagram. My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners, regardless of how and why others are choosing to misrepresent the past. That is the truth. A representative for Wood declined to comment on Manson's response when reached by Tuesday by the Times. So I guess here's the statement. Obviously, my art and life have been long been magnets for controversy, but these recent claims are horrible distortions of reality. My intimate... Okay, that's the same thing. So, is there any real way to know without being in their inner circle at the time? No, not really. And that's the problem. Look, I'm going to say this about Marilyn Manson, okay? It's no secret what kind of person Marilyn Manson is. He never claims to be a good person. He kind of leans into his villain status. And a lot of his lyrics, if you listen closely to them, kind of glorify I'll be generous and say borderline abusive mindset. So look, is this completely out of the realm of possibility that Marilyn Manson is guilty? No, absolutely not. In fact, it's a little bit likely, which makes him kind of an easy target if he is correct and this is just blown out of proportion or an attempt to what was the phrasing? Generate publicity, right? Now that's kind of always the defense though, right? It's like, oh, well, you're trying to generate publicity. But then again, what other defense would an actual abuser have? It's very tough, yo. I honestly have no idea, and I don't think there's much of a way to know. I like to try and believe the victim and say that they're not lying, but I don't know, dude. I don't know. Let's look a little deeper into this, because I haven't gone too deep into the Evan Rachel Wood allegations themselves. So let's take a look. So shortly after his statement, Deadline reported that the creative artist agency is no longer representing him, the latest blow to his career after allegations surfaced on Monday. Manson's statement came hours after Wood identified the singer, whose given name is Brian Warner, as her alleged abuser. When she was 19 and he was 37, Wood and Manson began dating publicly in 2007 and got engaged in 2010, before splitting up in August of that year. He started grooming me when I was a teenager and horrifically abused me for years, the Westworld actress wrote in her post. I was brainwashed and manipulated into submission. I am done living in fear of retaliation, slander, or blackmail. I am here to expose this dangerous man. Actually, no, let's just read this whole statement. Oh, I guess it. Why do they post it and then show it? Why do they write it in text and then post it here? Okay, whatever. I'm here to expose this dangerous man and call out many industries that have enabled him before he ruins any more lives, she added. I stand with the many victims who will no longer be silent. Others who accuse Manson of misconduct on Instagram include Sarah McNeely, Ashley Lindsay Morgan, Ashley Walters, Charlene Yee, Brittany Lee, Scarlett Capella, as well as two more whose display names on Instagram are Tori and Gabriella. Manson was swiftly dropped by his record label following the allegations. AMC's Shudder has removed him from its horror anthology series Creepshow. According to Deadline, stars vowed to cut Manson from an upcoming episode of American Gods. So, yeah, look. At this point, and I hate saying this because I will admit I have a bias here towards Manson, okay? I have a bias. I like Manson, and I'll be perfectly honest, I don't want to believe that he's capable of these things, but I also wouldn't be super shocked. I still, it's complicated. My feelings on this are complicated because, okay, as an abuse victim myself, I want abuse victims to be listened to. On the other hand, and by the way, Manson, there's a reason Manson's music is the way is the way it is, and that's because Manson, and I know a lot of people forget this, Manson's kind of an abuse victim in his own right, at least based on his childhood, which there was clearly some fucked up shit that went on in his childhood. I mean, without said shit, though, we wouldn't have come up with some of the great works of art that he has created. But does that mean that he can't now go on to victimize other people? No, of course he could. Is he? I don't know, dude. I really don't know. I do think he's an easy target. I think he's an easy target for this because one look at Marilyn Manson and his music and the way he talks and a lot of his opinions and shit, and it would be easy to draw that conclusion. Be like, oh yeah, he's definitely an abusive piece of shit. I mean, he's definitely a sadist on some level. He definitely like is like enjoys being like dominant sexually and doing sadistic shit in the bedroom, which if that's your kink and everyone's consenting, that's fine. So I don't really have a problem with that, and I'm not going to use that to draw the conclusion that, yeah, well, okay, so he's an abuser. Honestly, yeah, we just kind of have to wait for more evidence to come out and for a decision to be made, because we just don't know. We don't know. Let's see. Like, I don't think anyone would be surprised if he did it, but similarly to Michael Jackson, true or not, the personality he had makes it really believable to an outsider. Either reality could be true. Have to leave it to the courts and see what evidence is released when it's all over. I wouldn't be surprised if this was kind of a Louis C.K. thing where the lines of consent were seriously blurred, making things more complicated. Yeah, that might have been a case. Manson might have thought that, Evan Rachel Wood was a little more into certain things. And look, when you're young and this is why, like, I think it's kind of weird dating someone who's like 20 years apart. Wait, was it 20 years or close to 20 years? It was pretty close, right? Yeah, like, I think, like, that's why that's kind of a problem in the first place, right? Yeah, like, almost a 20-year difference. And I think when you're really young, like, this is why I have a problem with, like, the age of consent thing, I think rather than you are 18, you can now fuck someone who's 100 if you want to. No, you, gross. This is why I talk about rather than an age of consent, a window of consent, where to actually be able to, like, fuck anyone you want of any age, you have to be maybe like 21. Whereas if you're under that age, depending on what age you are, you have a window in which you can date people within that window, right? So if you're 17, you could potentially date someone who's like 20 because they're within like 5 years of your age group. But if you're like 18, like, you can't suddenly just date a 30-year-old, and that would, like, because, like, I know, like, some states have the, what do they call them, the fucking Romeo and Juliet laws or whatever. I think it would just be like, yeah, a lot of places they have that going lower. Romeo and Juliet laws, 16 to 18 is okay, 16, 22 is illegal. Yeah, yeah, like, if you're 16, yeah, so I would agree with that. I would say, like, yeah, if you're under the age of 18, then it has to be within 5 years of your own age. If you're over 18, it can be within 10 years of your own age. And if you're over 21, it can be anything. I think, like, because if we're going to set the legal drinking age at 21, then why is the sexual legal of consent lower than that? And I'm sorry, like, there can be 19-year-olds who are more vulnerable and don't really, like, aren't really that experienced, who can be taken advantage of by older people, and maybe not even intentionally. For all we know, this was a situation where Manson thought, yeah, she's 19, she's old enough to know what's going on, she's legal, I like her, whatever. And she was too inexperienced and uncomfortable standing up for herself in the relationship and things that she wasn't comfortable with. So even if Manson didn't have a malicious or abusive intent, it would definitely especially if it scarred her significantly throughout the years, have more of a effect and feel more like a an abusive situation. And again, maybe it is an absolutely abusive situation. Maybe Manson did lure her into this relationship. Maybe he groomed her, which I think that term is kind of overused by some circles, but maybe he did. Maybe he actually did fucking groom her. I don't know. Maybe he groomed and abused her. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. I don't know. It has to, it's kind of hard, and we just kind of gotta let this shit play out. But, in terms of Manson's art, I'm never gonna stop enjoying Manson's art. Even if he's a piece of shit, even if he's a worthless scumfuck, I still think he makes beautiful art, and it comes from a place that I can relate with. So yeah. Now, do I agree with everything Manson says and does? No, absolutely not. But just like, yeah, I think J.K. Rowling is a scumfuck. I think she's a total turf-ass piece of fucking shit. Hate her guts, really. But yeah, I still enjoy Harry Potter. I still recognize the fact that she created something that resonates with me and that I enjoy. And what she says, does, or believes as a person doesn't really have an effect on how much I enjoy that thing, and I won't let it. I'm cool with that. Don't think people in their mid-20s should be stopped from getting into a relationship with someone older, but I definitely think people lack maturity, even at 21. Well, honestly, there's an argument for the age of consent to go even higher. I'm being conservative with my 21, okay? There's an argument to say not until 25, because that's when your brain is actually developed and you become an adult. Because look, I just turned 26, and look, my brain, I think my brain is probably finally developed, you know. But dude, a couple years ago, even as much as a year ago, like, I was a totally different person. I was way more immature, and there was a lot of shit that I still struggled with, and that I was not like. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't, and you know, like, could someone older have come along and taken advantage of me? Absolutely. It's a possibility. And so I know a lot of people under 25 who are like, kind of, you know, still haven't found themselves yet, still don't really know what they want out of life, don't really know who they are yet. And, you know, some fucking 40-year-old can just come along and redefine your entire fucking life. And you trust them, and you go along with their wishes because they're older and they clearly understand more than you do. And so it's kind of a weird power dynamic there. And look, by the way, this is not a condemnation of people in relationships like this. Look, guys, I have no doubt that there are people in relationships with giant age gaps that are perfectly functional, normal, healthy relationships, okay? But, I mean, everyone's different. And honestly, I would err more on the side of, you know what? Like, honestly, I was watching Vosh recently, and he was this was a few weeks ago, actually. He was talking about, I don't remember what he was I don't think this was about the cuties thing. I think this was about something else. But he was talking about the fact that, like, youth is really fetishized in a weird way. Yeah, he was talking about pedophilia in general, probably. But yeah, he was talking about the fact that, like, youth is fetishized in a really weird way. You know, a lot of guys are really open with the fact, oh yeah, the minute she turns 18, yo. And then Think about that, okay? Our society doesn't really view that as fucked up. Views it as just kind of like, oh, whatever. Think about this. 10, 20 years ago, let's say. You could see movies and shit, like in the mainstream, where characters who are portrayed positively, for the most part, would say things like, hey, if there's grass on the field, play ball. We all know what that means. And, yeah, it's kind of fucked. Because now, like, for the longest time, we've had, like, oh, I think he was talking about the Pornhub purge. Yeah, that's what it was. Jailbait porn has been, like, a really popular porn category for a long fucking time. A lot of people are into that. You know, the barely legal sites, you know, you can find, like, you know, pictures of women that just turned 18. They're, ooh, I'm barely legal. I was a child yesterday, but now I'm an adult. Almost. Like, I remember, like, seeing, like, weird ads for, like, shit like that, where it's, like, really fucking creepy the more you think about it. It's like, we're fetishizing people who haven't even come into their sexuality yet, a lot of them, or are just discovering it. And I'm sorry, especially in today's culture, with conservatives allowed to raise children as sheltered as they tend to try to. You really think that, like, most, like, 18-year-olds are, like, suddenly ready to, like, jump into a long-term committed relationship with a fucking 40-year-old? They're not. They're not. So look, this isn't a condemnation of Manson for being in that relationship, or for anyone who's in that kind of relationship. This is more a condemnation of society for allowing this sort of thing to happen. Because, and again, this is based on speculation, because it could be the case that, well, either way, I'm going to say this. Either way, I do think, because look, Manson's saying it was all consensual, and, you know, she's saying it wasn't, it was abuse. I'm inclined to believe that the truth is somewhere in the middle. And, you know, I do think that the fact that she was only 19 when she got into a relationship with a 27-year-old probably factors into that a little bit. So I think it's a discussion we need to have. I really do. We need to discuss the age of consent again. I really don't think it's I think a lot of people just view it as like a perfect system, and it's not. And look, I'm also not condemning anybody who has a fetish or an attraction to girls who are 18, or anyone who's just 18. Like, I'm not condemning that. Like, I'm condemning our society, our culture as a whole, okay? There's a lot of shit about our society that I disagree with, that I fully admit I contribute to. The meat industry is a big one. We all contribute to that shit on some level, okay? Unless you're a complete vegan. So, yeah, like, it's not as simple as just, like, condemning people and saying, how dare you have this attraction? Because what society conditions us to value the attractiveness of youth. It's what and yeah, fetishization of youth has a lot to do with capitalism. We're inundated with the glorification of youth by advertising so companies can get the consumers young. Yeah, but it's, I don't know that it's necessarily, I don't know that I necessarily agree with your conclusion there. I don't think it's so they can get them young. I think the I don't know what it is, honestly. It's just a weird obsession with youth. It's a weird obsession with because honestly, I think and this does come more from the right. I think there is a huge fetishization of youth that is masqueraded as something completely innocent, and I've always seen the sinister undertones beneath them. I've known conservative parents, for example, who, oh, my innocent, sweet little angels, my little, oh, they can't know anything bad ever. I have to protect them from all these things I don't want them to know about. I have to protect them from ever maturing or getting older or seeing the world for what it is. They have to be innocent, precious little children as long as possible. Like, and like, you know, hiding reality and shit from children in an attempt to preserve their youth and innocence, because there is a huge fetishization in our culture, and I think it goes deeper than capitalism. And I've seen that turn into some pretty like gross behaviors on the parts of parents. I've seen like some really fucked up shit, and you know, these are the same people that defend child beauty pageants, that defend shit like child marriages, and don't really regard the consent of children at all. That's another thing. The more right-leaning a parent tends to be, the more they tend to push their child into the idea of, you must be this, you have to be what I want you to be, and you don't really get a choice. So honestly, I think this has to do with like a lot of conversations that probably need to be had on some level. God damn, is this stream really that boring, guys? Holy fuck. Or is, fuck fucking Paul. I can't stream anymore, guys. It really fucking sucks. Cause like now the times that I stream, like, I don't know what it is. Like TJ and Paul like went like forever without streaming, and now they're like always streaming when I'm streaming. And I know you guys are way more interested in those fuckers, because why wouldn't you be? They're more entertaining than I am. Even Paul with his fucking doomer outlook. Always memeing. Yeah, dude. Is it safe to say conservatism is child abuse? 100%. Yes. You stream really late. That is true. It's really hard ever since Chess changed her work schedule, because we wake up at like 2 p.m. We wake up, around like 2 p.m. and then we end up going to bed at like 4 or 5. Lately we've been falling asleep not until like 6. So like this is kind of like the optimal time, like once I get the shit done that I have to do at the beginning of my day, and then I stream like near the end of Chess's shift, so that by the time I'm done, she'll be done work and we can like go have dinner and shit. I would much rather be here than those streams, because it's a lot more personal. Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that. But no, I don't mean to come off as salty. It's just like I go live and then I'm like, God damn it. I go live. I'm like, oh, no one else is live. Okay, perfect. Maybe I'll actually get a decent view count tonight. And then like 20 minutes into my stream, I see like Paul's Ego is live. I'm like, fucking damn it. There goes half my chat. Honestly, like, it's not his fault. It's not TJ's fault either. I mean, my community is a fucking subset of theirs, so a lot of the people that watch me already watch them and are going to be more interested in that. But I almost wish I could coordinate with them, though, and know exactly when they're going to go live so I can avoid it. I don't know. I have been thinking of trying to do some earlier streams. I just gotta. Unfortunately, I have to be having a really good day to do a early stream. In order to be ready early enough to like do the stream, I have to be having like a really good day where I get up feeling decent. Fucking eat something and get shit done that I needed to do quick enough. I don't know, because I also figured like people seem to prefer later streams. If you guys prefer earlier streams, I will try. I will try and do at least one a week that's a little earlier. Also, I'm trans, you're trans, and Paul can be a little childish with his tantrums. Paul is extremely childish with his tantrums, and I will agree with that. There's a reason I don't watch a lot of Paul's Ego no more. He kind of really like, okay, look, Paul's a good dude, and I don't disagree with him on everything, but Paul can get a little too emotional about shit, and honestly, I don't think it's healthy for his audience either, because again, and I know, hey, anecdotal evidence, but like when I was like watching everything that Paul did and watching like all of his streams, that was a time when I was at one of my lowest points, and watching that kind of negativity and like Doomerism is like what kind of pulled me down into more of a kind of spiraling depression. So that's why I try to be about hopium, yo. It's got, like, again, I'm not trying to push, like, oh, always be positive about everything, but, like, too much negativity ain't good for you, dude. It's not. And when I look around, especially in, like, the lefty YouTube circles, like, or even the not lefty ones, but, like, a lot of the ones that I'm a part of or watch, like, there's just so much goddamn fucking negativity. Like, everywhere you look, everywhere you fucking look. DFF, I mean, they literally call themselves Pessimist Productions. Jimmy Dore, yeah, he's a total fucking doomer and a grifter. Kyle Kalinske is becoming more and more of a fucking doomer. The Rising, which I used to watch and now realize is a grifty piece of shit, also pretty fucking doomer and pretty fucking negative, even though they try to pretend that's not their angle. It clearly is. Like, holy fucking shit. I see a lot of people online just leaning into negativity, leaning into their own depression and cynicism, and holy fucking shit, is it not healthy, dude. It's not healthy. It's not. You get what you give your audience, I feel. Paul has some pessimistic toxicity in him, so his audience becomes more toxic. Yeah. Because, look, here's the thing. Paul is... Honestly, I don't even blame Paul for what he's doing. What Paul is doing is cathartic for him, and it clearly helps him on some level to be able to sit in front of a camera and rant to his audience. But the problem is, a lot of the people in his audience are in a similar place that he's in, depression-wise. So, unfortunately, he's not... Because, and that's for a couple reasons, by the way, because first of all, I have witnessed this whenever anyone tries to be positive towards Paul or try to get him to think more positively, he just gets more angry and ends up banning the person and viewing them as being condescending and concern trolly. And I'm not saying there's not condescending concern trolls in his audience, there definitely are, but way too often, I feel, someone's just trying to give a more positive outlook and like, damn, Paul, you're too negative. Like, he gets mad if you call him too negative. And it's just like, I'm sorry, though, you are. Yo, you are. And so, yeah, those people kind of get, for lack of a better term, bullied out of his audience. And the people who lean into that more, and I'll admit it, look, I'll say this, Paul's behavior in his streams is not, I can't speak to how he always is, but the way I've seen him a lot of the time, it's not healthy. And so people who are also in an unhealthy place, that's going to appeal to them, and they're not going to want to hear that it's not healthy because they're just like, oh, well, this is cathartic for me too. Yeah, I like watching an angry guy that shares a lot of my opinions rant and rave into a camera, you know, rather than trying to address these things. And I got banned for asking Paul if he was okay. Yeah, well, that's the problem, okay? I get the sense that a lot of the time when Paul's streaming, he's actually not okay, which is probably one of the reasons why he's streaming, because he wants to, like, just vent or rant. And again, that's not a bad thing, but the people that are listening to it are coming in it with a certain mindset, which he's then reinforcing. And it just reinforces the idea in people's heads that everything is fucked. Everything is fucked. It's all over. The world sucks. The government sucks. The establishment sucks. We're all just doomed anyway. Bring on the fucking nukes. Bring on the nukes, which was Paul's fucking catchphrase for the longest time, which a lot of his fucking audience still thinks that way. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I feel the same way. Wait. Oh, are you trans? I am indeed. Pre everything, my hair isn't even long yet. I know. Trust me, yo. If my hair wasn't long before already, this would be probably a bit harder. Let's see. I feel the same way. No, my father is an OTR trucker, and talk radio has whipped him up into a really sour mood ever since the 20th. Yeah, a lot of people, when they listen to shit that, like, reinforces their own negative bias, it's, it keeps them cycling. Let's see. I feel the same way as I do about that as I do religion. The truth is, life sucks, the world sucks, and it's not helpful to lie about it to a lot of people. Truth is, none of us have power, so whatever people want to do to cope is fine with me. I just wish there was more honesty there. Look, I get it. People are coping. People are upset because they feel powerless. First of all, we don't have zero power. I'll say we have next to no power, but we have power in some areas. First of all, we have power in our own lives, okay? And I'm not trying to give you the, like, essentialist right-wing pull yourself up by your bootstraps sort of rhetoric. But when we are struggling with things in our lives, especially when we can identify those things, a lot of the times we have to realize that our own mindset can contribute, especially when it comes to mental health. And leaning into unhealthy behaviors can be detrimental. And resisting healthy behaviors can be detrimental. And a lot of the time, we get into a cycle of cynicism and cynicism upon cynicism upon cynicism till we get to the point where any solution, no matter how reasonable, becomes a, oh, of course this isn't going to work. You know, why even bother putting any hope into this, you know? And that's not good. Because I'm sorry, not every solution is doomed to failure. Not everything is fucked. Not everything is objectively getting worse and worse and worse. There are positives in life. There's positive shit that happens every fucking day, and rather than pretending that shit doesn't exist and just imagining that the whole world is fucked no matter what, we should be more honest with ourselves and view the world through a lens of both optimism and pessimism. So, okay, I want to address this. I mean, your hopium is just as much copium as Paul's Dumerism. No, I disagree there, but I'll let you elaborate. Like, I don't see how getting people to meme all day about making the world better makes that group at all superior. What do you mean meme all day about making the world better? I want people to contribute to solutions that actually have a that are actually like viable. I want people to not just have this pessimism anytime someone offers a solution or a path forward or a potential positive that we could potentially work for. That's not telling people to just like, that's not telling people just meme about making the world better, okay? And by the way, beyond that, I advocate for, first and foremost, people trying to work to improve their own lives, work to be more honest with themselves, work to address a lot of things in their own life, okay, to try and become more effective people so that we can potentially fight for things that need to be fought for. I mean, if you want people to be happy, don't point them away from Doomerism. Point them away from politics in general. See, that's the thing, dude. You're approaching politics from a very cynical lens. And I do agree politics is fucked. And yeah, I do think a lot of people get way too entrenched in politics, but that doesn't mean we have to ignore it altogether. I have days where I talk more about politics than others. You know, normally when I'm streaming, I'll talk about my political stances and I'll talk about things that I think we need to advocate for, ideas that need to be spread, work that still needs to be done in order to make a better future, which I think is all very important. And I don't think it's a fucking lost cause. If you do, you're engaging in fallacious fucking reasoning. Okay? I'm not even saying it's likely that things will get better, but how are things going to get better if we don't fight for them? If we don't push for a better future? Let's see. Like, if what you really care about is people's mental health, nothing's worse than burying your head in politics. No, I agree. We need to take a break from politics. Absolutely. If even if you become the most based lefty ever, okay, you absolutely need a break from politics every once in a while. Have hobbies outside of that. Absolutely. What's the way I go about it, and how is it wrong? And what? I go about it by telling people ways that they can. I go about it by telling people positive things that they can fucking look at in life, and you know, a positive perspective. Just trying to view things through a less fucking hopeless lens. If you want to debate, if you want to have an actual conversation, I can bring you on for a bit. Let's see. If you want to hop in the Discord, I can bring you on and we can have a discussion. Because I feel like I might be missing what you're coming at here, and you might be missing where I'm coming from. So, give you 2 minutes? Okay. I'll go back and read the other shit in the chat that I missed. I got banned for asking if Paul was okay. Yeah, dude, that happens a lot. I think hysteria is more over the top than usual on AM radio because we have a black woman as VP. I mean, they did it in 2008 when Obama won. Like, oh my God, we have a black president. Conservatives go really mask off on radio. Yeah, they do. Let's see. Almost a year and a half on E and still in the closet because of my father. If my Femme Wardrobe was larger, I would be out, but I can't find women's clothes at 6'5". Oh, I'm sorry. They exist. It is probably harder to find stuff that you actually like that fits you. I'm sorry. I'm tiny, so like everything fits me. That's my yeah, dude. That's my privilege, yo. But yeah, I still haven't started estrogen yet. I'm still waiting. I still have the money that you guys donated. It's in an account waiting for when I'm able to start doing that. Although I do still suspect it's not nearly enough for what I'm gonna have to. Ooh, it's gonna be costly. Which is why, if you guys want to help support me, you guys should become patrons, yo. My patron show this last month was really fucking good, really fucking good. I looked at an old video of mine and really fucking tore it to shreds. It was actually quite funny. I was listening it to the other day and literally like it was literally made me fucking like laugh a number of times at my own jokes. Like maybe that's cringe or whatever, but like I find that to be a good sign when I'm like entertained by my own content, you know, which I'm not always. So okay, here is Banana Shoes. What up, Banana Shoes? Welcome. Oh wait, let me make sure. Oh, yeah, you do have.
Wait, is that me? We good?
Yes. What up?
Am I live? Okay, cool.
What up, yo?
What is up? How's it going?
How's it been?
It's been pretty good, you know. Coronaville's still going on. It's probably still going to go on for like another 2 years or something, but whatever. That's just life, I guess.
It is. It's depressing. Which is why we need hopium, yo. Too much depression in this world.
That was a good segue. Okay. I mean, like, listen, like I totally like I agree that because here's the thing. I think that there's like here's my real opinion. You know, if you want full honesty, like I think a lot of people would agree with this. We are on the trajectory to just total societal collapse. It's just going to happen if nothing happens to change it.
Sure.
And I think the chances of us being able to get in there to try and change things are pretty small. That doesn't mean that they're like totally like nothing, but they are pretty small. And what you have to accept with that is like, you know, when we're talking, like we could talk about numbers all day, but when I say pretty small, we're talking about less than 50%. That's one way to keep it in mind. So you are more likely to suffer through a collapse than not. So that's just a fact, you know, maybe not a fact, but like, you know, it's something that most people kind of agree on, right? So we can kind of call it a fact. But like you say, there are things that we could do to maybe prevent that, or like, oh, you know, I've been thinking more about maybe like, oh, is there things that we could do to make a post-collapse situation a little bit better? But we don't need to talk about that. That's a conversation for another day. What I really want to talk about is what I really don't like, because that's what you want to talk about, right? Is what I don't like about this. Mm-hmm. And we can get into some of your issues in a second, but my real issue with the Vosh style hopium stuff is I feel like it focuses everyone's energy onto things that are just kind of like like we have solutions that are like we've tried them before and they don't really work. Like, you know, how many times have we tried to elect left-wing people since Bill Clinton, right? They all suck, right? So electoralism, it's not like we can argue about whether it's a good solution to keeping things from getting worse, but I think everyone agrees it's not making things better, right?
Well, you could argue it kind of has already, hasn't it? Since but look,
I mean, in some ways,
I agree we should have gotten 2,000, but if you look at everything else in that stimulus bill, it's pretty fucking good. Biden is actually.
Here's what concerns me though, Jamie, is that when my mom was my age, she could afford to rent out an entire apartment, like a 2-bedroom apartment, and all on her own paycheck, and live in that. Not only that, but she could start saving up some money, and then after about 10 years could probably like buy a house.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
That is not only a pipe dream for me, it's a total fantasy. Yeah. And I don't understand like how we could be making progress in all these other places and how that's going to really equate to people if they're all living in tiny little cardboard houses.
Because, well, first of all, I think progress is progress and should be celebrated, even if other stuff is going to shit. I think progress. Oh yeah, no,
I celebrate the stuff that was good, but like I'm just concerned that can we have the good and more good? Like, why do we have to do a trade-off? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, everything involves trade-offs. We're never going to get everything we want.
I understand that, but like I don't know. I'm pretty sure like the need to shelter and food and safety and that kind of thing usually comes first for most people.
Sure, and those are issues that need to be addressed. And
for me, those are issues that come first and foremost. And I feel like they often get pushed to the wayside. That's my concern.
personally, these are issues that, I mean, I hold dear myself. I think they're important. We need to work on them. And personally, when I think it's one of the many things we need to push Biden on. I'm not sure exactly how we.
I don't know if he's gonna. Well, yeah, exactly. That was my whole concern the whole time. I never saw how Biden was ever going to push to the left. I totally predicted that he was going to go and talk to the Republicans and just be a Republican, right? I mean, like, not to say that you didn't predict that too, but
no. Look, here's how we push Biden to the left. Honestly, it's as simple as this. Class consciousness and praxis. We gotta spread good ideas, make them known, make them the default opinion by most Americans, and it'll take some time. Okay, here's the thing. I am fully aware.
But like, here, I kind of agree with that. But like, here's the thing: is like, but my issue is that like, I feel like that's not. Like, what I don't like is that all of the effort and energy is putting into like these really like lame pseudo solutions that are really just not gonna amount to anything.
My question is,
I think that people need to advocate like if people were more talking about like not like there is a fair amount of leftist outreach, right? Hey, here's leftist ideas. You should learn them. You should get into that. That I agree with. I think that's good. What I don't think there's enough of is and I think you'd agree with me if the Reddit stonk market thing has taught me anything, it's that like this is the path forward for poor people to fight against rich people. Not specifically going into Robinhood and doing the hedge fund bullshit and like we're betting against your stonk, like not that. That's going to be cut out pretty soon. Like we're not gonna be able to do that anymore. But this idea that you can get a whole bunch of poor working class people to gather on a place like Reddit or Discord and use their collective knowledge, time, resources, money, physical bodies to go out and do, praxis, that I think is the way forward. But I don't see people advocating for that, and I don't see people advocating for solutions outside of the norm of what we currently have. And that's what frustrates me.
Well, okay.
I don't see people saying, hey, what we have going on right now, what people are doing is wrong. It's not working. We need to stop and we need to fucking reevaluate and reassess and come at this from a different fucking angle.
Well, we definitely should, but here's the thing. Like, I definitely agree. We need, we need regular working class people to take action. The Reddit thing, it's good. It's base. I like it. I've been cheering them on the whole time, because at the end of the day, fuck Wall Street, fuck the elites, fuck what they've done to this country. They've raped this economy, the land, the fucking people, like all of it. They've completely like fucked us all over, and anything we can do to fight back against them, I will always be for. And if there is a strong working class movement of some sort that is actually fighting for something in some way, I'll get behind it. But the problem here is a lot of the fact is a lot of the people that get angry about certain issues are like, no, this needs to be done now. We're still the minority in a lot of areas.
Okay. But like, okay. My real issue though is like, I don't understand how we can talk about moving forward with the left and then spend 80% of like screen time on a specific channel or whatever talking about how everyone needs to go out and vote for Joe Biden and that's the number one issue.
Well, it wasn't my concern. It wasn't it only became the number one issue because it became so fucking contentious. Because to not enough people, it wasn't just a foregone conclusion that like, oh yeah, of course I vote for Biden to keep Trump from staying in office and becoming a fascist dictator.
But hold on though. But why couldn't those people have also said, hey, by the way, if you're not in a swing state, go ahead and vote for the Socialist Party? Why wasn't there any of that?
There was a lot of that.
I didn't hear it.
I really
not
don't.
From Vosh, not from any of the leftist people I was following.
Because the idea, look, and different people had different opinions on this. I was of the opinion that, and I still agree, we needed to not just win, we needed to overwin. We needed to get the Senate, the House, and the presidency, which we only just narrowly did.
Well, if you're in Washington State, that doesn't fucking. If you're in California, that doesn't fucking like. There was no risk of losing any of that shit.
Sure.
And not only that, you can still vote for the Senate and representatives in your state and still vote for a president that's of a different party.
But my problem with third-party voters were that people were acting like it was a viable alternative to voting for Biden, when all it really is
well, it's not. But you know what is a viable alternative to electoralism, and what we're doing is constantly showing people that these other parties are more viable. So if you live in one of these states where your vote doesn't count, then you might as well throw it towards a symbolic gesture so that in a couple of years, maybe people will actually care. And you know what? Maybe they won't get elected. But what about how many people might take a look? Oh, there's 2% of people voting for the Socialist Party 5 years down the line or whatever. Wow, maybe this is a lot more viable than I thought it was.
Sure. Look, I'm very wary of third parties in general because I come from Canada, a country that has more than two parties.
Oh, I mean, like I am too. But I think that we should work outside of electoralism. But I do think that there are things that we can do even within electoralism. And like, here's the thing: is I wouldn't spend all day, like if I had a YouTube channel, I wouldn't spend all day talking about how we need to go do that. I'd spend one or couple videos every now and again talking about how that's a good idea.
Yeah,
and
but
move the fuck on and try something else.
It's hard to move the fuck on when you have people that are so resistant and act like you saying that voting for Biden is a good idea is some egregious, horrible fucking thing. Like, how dare you?
Well, if they're that militantly against it, then figure out another way to come and meet those people on a leftist agenda. If they're not going to meet you on that particular agenda, go find people that will, and then meet with those other people with something else. Go stand in a picket line with them. Go fucking, support some protest with them. Like, sure. You don't have to constantly be with them on every single individual little issue.
No, sure. And I agree we should be working together on as much shit as we can. But I feel like the problem, like, how are we supposed to work with them when they won't work with us? When it's like, wait, look, as the left...
Well, you're not working with them either. When they're talking about, hey, we need to come up with a new solution, you're saying, no, fuck you. You're doing the same thing.
Look, I'm going to say this. From these type of people, all I hear, that is what I hear. Let's come up with a new solution, but I'm not actually going to give you a new solution. I'm just going to shit on your solutions.
When these people come to you and they say, okay, well, what is Biden going to do? How are we going to, like, move forward with Joe Biden? And you say, I don't know, move him to the left, maybe? Like, it's the same thing. Like, it's a change of like there's a perspective difference. I get that it's maybe hard to see, but like that's what's going on.
No, I disagree though. I and Vosh and a number of other people gave a number of good reasons for why voting for Biden is preferable.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of people who gave good reasons as why you shouldn't vote for Biden, and they were all ignored too. Like, I don't know, that's not an argument.
Sure, but like the fact is, like, it wasn't just, oh, we'll push him left maybe. It's like, because a lot of people were saying, oh, don't vote for Biden, we need to do direct action. And I was sitting here being like, we can do both. In fact, we can do direct action better under Biden than under Trump, because Trump isn't going to listen to us. Trump is just going to be more and more
say that
antagonistic.
And then move on, right? What's the fucking issue? I don't like, why does this have to literally be like a sticking point for the left for the entire year? And why does it continue to be a thing now?
It's not. I mean, I didn't bring it up once, really. I don't really care about that anymore. Biden's president now. I'm happy about that. I'm trying to move forward with...
Well, the Doomerism thing certainly still comes up a lot.
Because I see a lot of political Doomerism. A lot.
I know. And, well, here's the thing that you guys don't want to admit. The political Doomerism is healthy. Like, we have a fucked up political system, and these people are just acknowledging
I'm going to have to disagree with you there.
Like, whether if they don't want to jerk off about how, like, oh, yeah, but guys, maybe we can, like, fix things, then, like, whatever. You still need to engage with them, and you need to listen to their ideas.
Sure.
Because they're not only are they saying, like, accurate things, but on top of that, you know, they do actually want real change. They're just more realistic about what needs to happen to make that happen.
Look, you can say they're more realistic all you want, but and you can say they're being rational.
Well, you're saying that these people literally just want to sit down, like sit in their house and like jerk off and eat potato chips all day and go, oh, everything's fucked anyway.
Some of them do.
What they're trying to do is get people to have an actual, like, to have an okay, sure, some of them do. And, you know, some people want to say that Joe Biden's gonna fucking bring about the new fucking millennia and it's gonna be fucking amazing. So, like, you want to stand with those people?
No.
What I'm trying to say is that there's plenty of people out there that are actually waiting for a real legitimate solution, and they're not just like fucking sitting around going, oh, everything's fucked.
Yeah, but when you give them solutions or actions that we can take to potentially make things better, they go, oh, well, that's not going to work anyway. And the only reason
because the one that you wait, hold on. So just because some, like, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't think that advocating for a neoliberal centrist just so that we can have another Republican hold on, just so we can have another Republican come in and fuck things over again. You think that someone saying that is basically just like, oh yeah, you know, you're right, that was a legitimate point, but I just don't care.
Dude, a lot of these people,
like, there's
a lot of these
people on both sides
would not even get behind Bernie in the primaries because they were like, oh, well, that's dumb. That's not, it's fucking pointless.
And what about the people who would? And like, what about, like, why strawman all these people? Why? What's the point?
No, I'm not strawmanning people. It's a lot of the same people that were anti-Bernie and then anti-voting for Biden and then somehow now, like,
but I mean,
hang on. I'm not done. I'm not done.
Why do you think that you're going to convert them?
Hang on. And then they start advocate. a lot of these same people, the first thing I ever saw them actually advocate for was the dumbest non-solution, performative, cynical token gesture I had ever seen. This fucking bullshit of force the vote. Okay. A completely ineffective strategy that would have done nothing. And so when I look at these people, all I see are people that just want to get mad and don't want solutions. They just want to get performatively angry and fucking rant about how the system's fucked and then use that as an excuse to take no action.
Okay. Are you done?
Sure.
So I'm going to bring up the same question I had before. If these people are so radically far gone, why do you care? If you can't bring them over, then what are you wasting your time for?
I was brought over. I was one of those people a year ago. I don't know if you remember. I was saying everything's fucked. I was saying I was Bernie or bust 100%. And right after Bernie dropped out, I even fucking I even was making Trump apologetics for about a week, which I'm not fucking proud of. Like I've been in these positions and I've been very fucking cynical about politics, and I'm not like assuming that my positions at the time are the same as everybody, but I do recognize a lot of the same patterns in people, and all I'm trying to do is offer people a goddamn alternative instead of just fucking cycling and spiraling in the fucking hopelessness.
But like, why can't you just admit that the alternative could be like, I don't know why you always just assume that these people are just infinitely hopeless.
I'm not.
Couldn't they just be slightly more hopeless than you are?
Maybe, but I don't want them to be. I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's effective. I also don't think it's helpful or effective or healthy to bury yourself in politics, but here we are doing it anyway. It's not, and I don't do that. I literally try to stay out of politics outside of my streams because I fully recognize it's very stressful, and it's something that is. But that's the fact. It's stressful. It's depressing. It's a shit show. But it's still important. It's still something that we need to address some level of time to. We need to come up with solutions.
I agree with that. I just think that
arguments.
that sentiment gets used to virtue signal people to waste their time and energy on stuff that's really ineffectual. That's my issue.
I could use the same argument about people doing the force the vote thing. I mean. Look,
I'll be honest. I don't think the force the vote thing would have worked, but I really hate the way that people just on the face of it just assume that, oh, well, if it wouldn't work, then therefore we should never try it. Like, personally, I'm not sure if the force the vote thing was a good idea, but like all the time, anytime people say, oh, well, we need to have like more radical left people actually force some shit and expose these people, these other like, you know, centrists and right wingers for not doing the right thing and fucking shame them, you know? And that shit just doesn't happen. And anytime someone says that it should happen, they get the same fucking reaction that the people who tried to do the force of vote
shamed them. Most fucking Americans wouldn't have given a shit. Most Americans didn't give a shit.
I know, but like,
from the perspective,
did you hear me though? I wasn't talking about force the vote. I'm talking about like this is a greater issue beyond that.
Sure. Look.
And this is why I'm so heavy an advocate for like don't just blue no matter who. Like that's the whole reason I'm for that is because like it's the same fucking thing.
Look, I don't believe in blue no matter who either. I'm completely against that. I was for Biden because Trump is a fascist, and is still trying to
so in the next election, are you going to vote Democrat?
Depends on who's running. I don't know. Depends on who they're running against. I will say this. In the next 4 years, I'm not interested in who's running in 4 years. I'm interested in what we can do within the next 4 years to push people further to the left, which is why I
think that's short-sighted. That's my issue. If we're always looking 4 years ahead, we're never looking 60 years ahead.
What? Wait, I'm saying I'm saying I'm not looking 4 years ahead. I'm in the meantime, what can we do now to push people to the left? What can we do now to bring people over to a reasonable position to make them see what the solutions are and how we need to go about fight, or not even how to fight for them, just what the solutions are. One of my biggest problems with the force the vote thing is that the majority of Americans do not understand why we need Medicare for all yet. We haven't won that argument yet, and we need to spend the next 4 years continuing to push that argument and to make Medicare for all a more mainstream position, so that maybe.
Well, you know what's funny is I think that a lot of Americans don't understand how politics work, and they're going to take a look at the downslide that happens during the Joe Biden presidency and blame it on the Democrats.
Sure.
So we have very similar opinions.
Actually,
here.
I'm not even against that. In fact, it's good if they blame the Democrats. I want them to. I want the
No, because where do you think they're going to go?
No. Hang on. Well, my point is, I want at some point within the next 4 years. Or 8 years if Biden gets reelected, for the American people to take a look at the fucking Democratic Party. Hopefully it's not too close to election season when this happens, but in the ideal scenario, this would be like mid presidency, and the people just get mad and say, you're not doing enough. You have control of the presidency, the House, and the Senate, and you're not doing enough. People are still dying. The healthcare system is still broken. People are still unemployed and unable to afford a fucking roof over their head. This is not enough. And for people to take to the streets or to Reddit or whatever the fuck they want to take to at some point and say, enough is enough. We want change now.
And, I agree. I don't know if the people are going to take to the streets, but people are certainly going to be pissed. And you know who's going to be waiting with their arms outstretched and open, ready to give them a big old hug? The right wing.
I mean, that's always going to be the case. Like...
I know, but it wouldn't have been such a case if the right wing were the people that were fucking everything. Whatever. It's not important anymore.
But wait, who was like running to the left during the Trump presidency being like, oh my God, we need
everyone?
Some people, but like...
Everyone, like the whole internet, the whole everyone. Like the right wing was literally thrown into the trash can. Like sponsors dropped the right wing in droves.
Okay, sure.
Because Donald Trump became the fucking head of... They've lost so much funding. The Republican Party is fucked.
Sure.
Donald Trump has done more for the left wing than the left wing has done for themselves.
Is the Republican Party fucked, or are they a serious threat?
I mean, listen, if they have, like, if the Democrats keep up like this, they're going to give the Republicans a chance to bounce back. That's how pathetic this is. That's my point. Like, the Republicans should have just fucking handed over everything to the Democrats. But the Democrats have decided, no, I think we'd like to keep the Republicans around. So we're just going to fumble this ball and give it right back to them.
But, look, see, this is why what I'm trying to do is push people further to the left. I'm not trying to just...
I know, but it's... I understand that. That's what I'm trying to do, too. We just disagree on how to get people
hang on. Let me explain, though. One of my biggest problems with what I view as political doomerism, people like Jimmy Dore, all they do is attack the Democrats and say the Democrats suck, and they don't try to push people further to the left than the Democrats. They just get people disaffected with the Democrats, and I see a lot of people...
I'm not defending Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore sucks.
No.
Like, if you're going to say the Democrats suck, always push people left. I understand.
What I'm saying is these people that rail against the Democratic Party relentlessly, and no matter what they do, yes, those people push people to the right. I'm trying to be more effective in actually pushing people.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
left.
Right wingers. I'm talking about Republican senators out right now. Republican senators saying that $1,000 is not enough, $1,400 is not enough. What is Joe Biden fucking doing? They are getting political cred right now because the Democrats have fumbled the ball.
Sure, but like, that's not the overall fucking take of the Republican Party. That's a few Republican senators.
It's like a month in. This is going to keep going on.
Sure. But what I'm saying, that they're not all going to jump on that, oh yeah, we need to give the people more money. And we've seen how the Republicans govern.
They don't all have to jump in. They just need enough people to jump on to elect a Republican president.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's how elections work. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know that it's going to swing in that direction necessarily. It could. I'm not denying that it has a chance to.
I just don't see what other direction it's going to swing in. If people are on the left right now, if people have an Overton window that sees the left and the right, and the left is in power, and the left is currently in power while things are bad, people are going to go, maybe I should go to the right. Because where else do you go?
Because you got it. That's why
you got. The
Overton
window is not shifted.
That's
Jamie.
why you've got to show.
Don't pretend that we can just move everyone further to the left. It's not ready.
Why you have to push the Overton window. You have to push people further to the left.
I know. We need to do that. We haven't done it yet. That's the issue.
Sure. No, we haven't.
We can't do it in a Joe Biden presidency. There's not enough time, especially while the left is losing street cred.
I never said we would. Look. The fact is, look, are some people going to become disaffected and go over back to the right? Sure. again, I'm more interested in.
Hold on. People are more repelled by fascism. That only applies when there's fascists in the spotlight. Guess what happens when the fascists aren't in charge? They go into the dark where they can recruit people and hug them. Sorry, go on.
So
that was chat.
Do you really think that like with fascists, maybe not in power but in the spotlight, we'd be in a better position?
Yeah.
You don't think we'd be at more of a risk of a fascist revolution?
No, I think if the fascists were in the spotlight and, like, yet again, Donald Trump was in the spotlight and the public opinion said, okay, this shit's just not acceptable. You need to shine a light on this shit. People don't know it exists. Like, Jamie, you want to know why I was kind of anti-SJW back in the day? My opinions have not changed at all. My perspective has. I didn't understand how much of an issue of like these people were out there. And what changed my mind was the spotlight that was being shined on them. All right.
You want to elaborate on that?
I mean, I guess I can. I don't know what else there is to elaborate on.
I mean, I don't know what.
I mean, by the time I had talked to you, I was already pretty, like, pretty far to the left. I'm pretty sure the first time I came on, I was talking to what's his face, Creamage, about why Sargon is a dumb piece of shit.
Yeah.
But like, my point is, like, if it wasn't for people like that showing up and me seeing those kinds of people, I wouldn't have interacted with them enough in my day-to-day life, or they wouldn't have been like, transparent enough about it in my day-to-day life, that I would have known that that was a serious problem that existed. I would have just been like, well, yeah, racism's bad, but like, when does it happen, bro?
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So we need these fascists to be in the spotlight so we all know that they're there and we see how fucking ugly they are and we know what not to be.
I mean,
otherwise you'll have people like me that just go, yeah, what's the problem with racism?
Let the fascists be in
it's not even a problem anymore.
Look, let fascists be in the spotlight, I guess, but I don't want fascists in power, because that's, again, like a lot of the ways that fucking Trump dealt with.
But if you let the neolibs in power, they're gonna hand it over to the fascists. That's the whole problem. They fumble the ball to fascists whatever.
I mean, look, that's the inherent fucking problem with a fucking two-party system, okay? Like, there isn't...
I know, which is why we need to advocate outside of that. I don't...
Yeah, but that's never going to happen, though, unfortunately. Like, we're never going to have a third party that's
what's
viable.
Also never going to happen is Joe Biden and constantly voting blue suddenly turning the United States into a left-wing utopia where the planet doesn't cook itself.
No, but we can...
So we're both living in fantasy worlds here.
No, I never said that's going to happen. All I think that's going to happen with
what
Biden
is gonna happen, then?
Is harm can be reduced. We can have some better policies. Maybe, we'll get a $15 minimum wage, which will help a lot of fucking people. Maybe we'll get some fucking student debt cancellation. We'll get a fucking public option, which is not what we need, but it's a hell of a lot better than what we have right now. And a public option is the step towards Medicare for all anyway. So,
but like, don't you realize that like when they purposefully implement these policies incorrectly so that they can go in and be shit and everyone will rail against them, so that when the Republicans come back in power, they get pulled down? It's a tango. This is literally just a ballet that they are performing.
The policies are shit, and I'm kind of counting on that because my whole argument, once a public option is implemented,
your argument that it doesn't push people to the left. When people get shitty fucking healthcare from the government, they say government healthcare sucks. Bring back the private one.
And you have to explain to these people why
and
private healthcare...
And then we go back to the private one while the world cooks.
No, we have to, under a public option, explain to people why this doesn't go far enough and why the existence of private... So
if that's so easy, why haven't we already done it, and why don't we already have a public option?
Because it's hard to show people that. It's hard to, like, explain to people why a public option isn't good enough.
So maybe we need to start outside of electoralism, because the electoral people that rule over us don't give a fuck.
Well, what do you propose then?
Maybe we need to give them a reason to give a fuck.
I mean, then what do you propose?
I already told you. We need to get leftist people to fucking get together on fucking Discord servers and find ways to protest, find ways to fight back. Do what these fucking hedge fund people are doing, the fucking Redditors, the Wall Street people. Do shit like that. Find ways to fight back as groups of people. You need to get people to fucking work together.
I absolutely...
And we need to get people to start making new ideas, too. We need people to stop going and, what has already been done that we can just do again? We need people to start coming up with brand new fucking ideas. We live in 2021, Like, this is the time for fucking new praxis, right?
No, sure. I absolutely agree with that. We definitely need to get lefties together. We need to come up with new ideas. We need to organize. but we also need
to do that, we need to stop monopolizing all of the conversation on how everyone needs to go vote for the next fucking, whatever Democrat neolib senators fucking up for, grabs or whatever.
Like I think people need to get
just getting in the way.
I think what's getting in the way is people getting offended by being told who they should vote for. Like, how dare you tell me to vote for this person? And honestly, dude.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you know what? Maybe we should not fucking care who people are voting for and tell people to advocate for shit outside of that.
But
You're
when
right.
we're trying to do,
we finally agree.
But when we're trying to do something that I'm sorry, when we're trying to reduce harm by voting for one person over another, and we all have the same values in mind, and we're all working towards the same goals, but then we're in disagreement.
But it's not harm reduction if it causes more harm in the end. Like, how many times do I have to keep talking about how these policies that are implemented to fail are then taken out and a fascist is put into power? Like,
that's speculation. You don't know that's going to happen.
I know, but you know what else is speculation? That harm reduction will happen. It's both speculation.
Sure. I never said that it will happen. My whole thing is not saying.
And I never said that it will 100% happen either. I'm just saying it's very likely. It's a fucking common pattern.
Chill, calm down. All I'm saying here, look, I think you're misunderstanding my whole hopium message, because I say this almost every time I bring up the hopium thing. I don't want people to just fucking look through shit with like blind optimism and just be like, everything will be okay. I think that's ridiculous and unhealthy and stupid. Okay, I want people to view the world with a certain level of cynicism and optimism, because all I'm trying to say is that, look, there is a potential positive path forward. It doesn't have to be all shit. We can work to reduce harm. We can make things potentially incrementally better, and I think we should fight for those things. I think we should try.
You know what? I do agree with that. I actually do agree with that sentiment, and I do hope that that's the fucking message people are taking out. See, I don't want to sound overly disingenuous, but like, just from my perspective, the way that the reason it gets to me is because I get the feeling, and I don't know how much it's true, but I certainly get the feeling that a lot of people, view their like, oh, I went and, did the check mark by Biden. I did my fucking, good deed for the day. It doesn't matter that I'm fucking the planet over. And I feel like that's not good for actual activism.
Okay,
that's my personal opinion. And obviously, maybe that's not the case. That's just where I'm coming from.
I agree with you. And look, overall, I think people acting as if voting is anything more than what it is fucking ridiculous. You're voting. All you're doing is saying, which president do you want, this guy or this guy? And you're making your voice heard. I am so sick of people acting like voting is either some imposition on their part or some like endorsement of the candidate they're voting for, some like great, like, all it is, or as if it's the only action they need to take, because it's fucking not. You need to vote. I in my opinion, you need to vote for the candidate that leads to the least harm, but then you also need to work towards fighting for a better future. You need to work towards convincing people, changing hearts and minds, and actually participating in direct action when possible. So I agree. Like, a lot of people view it as, oh, I did my part, I voted, and that's fucking dumb, and I will always rail against that. Because no, that's not all you need to do. We need to do a hell of a lot more. Voting is one very tiny piece in a larger fucking puzzle. When I'm trying to look at the big picture, what I think we could potentially do within the next 4 years, a tiny piece of that is elect Biden. That's step one. And then there's like 57 steps beyond that. But a lot of people, and I will agree with you, a lot of people get stuck at step one. It's like, hey, voted for Biden, did my duty for the week, for the year, for the election cycle. I'm done. I can go back to grilling now. And yeah, that's why we got to point out to people what the fucking problems are, why it's not just good enough against with Biden. And see, because here's the thing, Republicans are going to be there with open arms to take in people who are disaffected by the left wing, which is why I advocate for, rather than just blindly attacking the left wing and not giving people alternatives, you attack specific things that the left is doing wrong, and you explain to them why a further left policy would have been better, why it should have been fucking Bernie, why not because if you just leave it open-ended, like people like Jimmy Dore do, or The Rising or whatever, yeah, people are gonna go to the right. Oh, hang on a second.
Another
I got it.
problem I feel we need to address is the poor memory of the voting base in this country. Otherwise, every election cycle subpar politicians will be voted in until the cycle self-destructs. I want it to be easier for voters to learn
overall,
from the
yeah,
past.
no, I agree with all that. And I think we could probably tail end this on something that's a little bit more friendly than the rest of the conversation we had. But I feel like, I think mostly we are in agreement because, like, yet again, in terms of importance, we may have a disagreement over, like, you know, the efficacy of voting. But the more important debate for me than whether or not you should vote is how important voting is. And I think that we're somewhat, like, you know, we might have a disagreement on exactly how important voting is, but I think, like, we both kind of agree that there are a lot of things that kind of, like, are really fucking important beyond voting. And that, you know, it's really kind of ridiculous to put, even if you put it, like, chronologically is the first thing you need to do. Right. To put it in terms of importance as the highest, most important thing to do, I think we both agree is a little bit kind of ridiculous. Yeah, so I think at the very least we can agree there.
And that's why my goal is to, like, convince normies that, because a lot of normies, they just think, oh yeah, I voted, I did my civic duty. We got to convince them, no, the system is still broken. We still need to keep fighting. And we need to show them the direction we need to be fighting in, you know, and so that's all I'm trying to do here is, like, show people the criticisms, but at the same time offer them an alternative so that they don't just, like, wander off into the right.
Sure.
But yeah, also thank you, Rose Black, for the donation. No, I do agree. People have a very poor memory in this country when it comes to voting. And I don't know how that's going to work. People don't learn. No one learns from their past in general, but in terms of voting, no, that's definitely true. I mean, if people learned from their past, we would never have another fucking Republican elected ever. But clearly people are... Look, I don't know. I don't pretend to have, like, some magical solution. I don't pretend to know the future or what path we need to take exactly, but I'm just trying to gesture in the general direction I think we need to go. I think we need to...
I appreciate the honesty there. Because, I mean, honestly, I come from the exact same position. But, like, you know, we obviously have different ways to get about it. Yeah. I think, you know, I think... And it maybe it's just because of the way that we think. Like, I'm certainly, like, an iconoclast. So, like, you know, this idea that everyone else thinks that, okay, yeah, this is the way to do it. It's voting. It's worked for so many years. Of course, I'm going to be against that. Oh, yeah. I don't know if maybe the way that you think, you know, maybe you come out at it from a different angle. But, like, you know, just the way that my mind works, of course, I'm going to be against that.
I've never thought it's just about voting. I always, like...
Right.
I've always said voting is important, but it's not all we need to do. And that's why I did a stream a while back where I was, before the election, where I was like, voting or direct action. Which one do you want to do? And then I'd follow up with, you can do both. And I went on, like, a giant rant because I saw a number of people being like, no, we shouldn't vote for Biden. What we should do is actually do protests and direct action and this and that. And people talking as if you can't do one if you do the other. Like, what? That's fucking ridiculous. We can do, if there's...
Hold on.
We can do 5 different solutions at once.
Animancer, nobody knows me. I'm allowed to be cringe. Fuck you. But yeah, no. I think mostly we're like... Because it's frustrating. I think most of the time, you know, these two factions are very close to in agreement. And I think you know what's funny is I had a conversation with a friend of mine not too long ago about how he's like an academic. There's a lot of, like, people in the academic circle that are totally fucking, like, really up their own ass. Like, I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anyone.
Of course
you know, like, yeah, like in a lot of fucking circles, like if you go to, like, a real university or whatever, like, those are the kinds of people, oh, I got my fucking 4.0 and all that shit, and they basically will just look down on anyone who's like, oh, you dropped out of college, oh, you smoked pot, oh, like, you did this, you did that. And I was telling him that, like, as much as I may disagree and, like, not like those people on, like, a kind of personal, visceral level, I recognize that those people are very necessary. And, like, because especially like I'm getting into cooking, right? So, like, I kind of get frustrated with the really, like, snooty jerk off chefs that are like, hey, listen, man, like, fucking, if you don't fucking put exactly this amount of salt into your shit, you're ruining it. It's fucking terrible. You know, and I'm just like, man, you guys are fucking lame. But there's a place for that. There's a place for that, like, really fucking hyper over, like, you know, necessary, like, fucking analness when it comes to cooking. But there's also a place for people who just want to fucking cook at home, and they're just gonna throw a pinch of salt in there, and they don't give a fuck, you know. And I think similarly the way here, like you need both of those people to kind of counteract each other. You need people who are like really fucking, you know, hardcore into like, you know, the theory and stuff and like this is exactly how everything works and I've mathematically proven everything or whatever. And you need people to come in and fucking fuck everything up and say, nah, you're fucking wrong. I don't like this idea. This is wrong. You need to tear this up. And those people work together because when they do, you know, that person tears it up, they reconstruct it and it's even better, right? So I think that, you know, these optimistic people and these pessimistic people, they're really a yin and a yang that should function together. You know,
absolutely.
The pessimist should listen to the optimist and the optimist should listen to the pessimist.
Sure. But see, I absolutely agree with that. But my end goal that I'd rather have is not just like we have ultra pessimists over here and optimists over here and we listen to each other and work together. My ideal goal is everybody learns, or at least most people learn, to view the world with a balance of both pessimism and optimism, and not just.
I just don't think that that's. I mean, like, I don't know.
It's
maybe
a hard
I'm wrong,
place
but
to
I
get
don't
to.
think that that's keen to human nature. I think there are people that are just naturally pessimists, and there are people that are naturally optimists.
No, sure, that is.
And there are people who are in the middle.
That is true. I just think like becoming too much of one thing is always bad. Becoming an extremist, is always a bad thing, and that's why I think like I do see a lot of people that seem to be like cynical extremists that seem to be like completely like down the pessimist rabbit hole, and you can't like it's the same kind of people that like you can't like see like talk about some new song that came out or some new like thing where oh that's fucking stupid, that's gay, oh you like something, that's fucking dumb, you know, like just those kind of people. And it's just really fucking frustrating to talk to these people and they everything that you talk to them about, like it's just like that's not gonna work, that's dumb, and it's so clear to me that there are some people that like would really benefit from being a little bit more optimistic, but they're so resistant to that because they think being optimistic means they have to get rid of their cynicism, and you don't have to get rid of it.
I don't want to go here, but like let's be real, Jamie. A lot of these people are just straight up depressed.
No, I get that.
You can't just ask a depressed person to like go on a walk and feel better.
Look, I'm depressed. I have clinical depression. I have PTSD. I have a number of fucking issues. And I'll be fucking honest. And I hate saying this because it comes off the wrong way to a lot of people. But the fact is, I had to realize on some level that if I want to be better, I've got to fucking do something about it. I can't just sit and wallow in my own depression. I can't just sit and be angry because nothing goes the way I want it to. I have to do something to make my own life better if I want to succeed in life. And I'm not like, again, I'm not doing the fucking right wing, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know, I do believe we should be able to rely on other people and that, you know, the world should be a better place so that a lot of us don't reach this level. But the fact is, if you have mental health issues in your own personal life, you need to do something about it on some level. And I don't like enabling people to just kind of just wallow in their depression and never do anything about it. And I really do.
Sure. I mean, I don't know how much enabling is really going on there. But
I honestly, I think that's
yeah. There's certainly something to be said about what you're talking about, and like people need to take care of themselves, mental illness or not.
I personally think there's a lot of people in Paul's audience that are exactly doing that. They go to listen to Paul because he's super negative on a lot of shit. He reinforces a lot of their own like depression and shit. And
I mean,
they
I'm
don't
not of
have
the opinion
to try
that if they instead watched a Disney Channel movie, they'd be all that much happier. I think they'd still feel just as fucking depressed. They'd just be like, why am I trying to suppress this?
Sure. And I don't think people should suppress it. I think people should let out their frustrations. I think we should be able to
isn't that what they're doing
emotions.
when they go into Paul's chat and talk about how pissed off they are that the world sucks?
Sure. But then too many people get into a habit where that's the only mindset they're in afterwards. And they don't really like because there's a lot of people that just like, you know, they see someone trying to be positive or trying
mindset, I mean, like, I know you can help it to some degree, but like, I don't know.
Again, I'm not under any delusion that like I'm just going to convince people to like, oh, I'm going to be more positive now. But the fact is, I see a lot of people that just shit on positivity outright like it's a dumb thing. And I get why, because I do realize a lot of people that are depressed have been hurt by being positive before. They've been disappointed and it sucks. But that's not a reason to never be positive again. Just because
I honestly don't think that that's the main issue. I mean, if you want, like, to be entirely honest, I think the main issue is that when people try to have that outlook, they feel like it's disingenuous and they're lying to themselves and they can't trick that. Like, it's like, Jamie, if you thought that you would be a lot happier as a Christian, could you do it?
No. But here's the thing.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of these people might be similar, where they just don't, and like whether or not, you know, we can disagree on whether the outlook is correct or not, but like, you know, as a matter of perspective, they just don't feel like they can view things from that angle, because just like you can't view things from the angle of the world was created by God, they can't see it from this angle of like, okay,
sure,
well, you know, change is coming right around the corner on a choo-choo train.
Sure, but then what's wrong with trying to provide them a new perspective?
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong on trying to get people to stop being depressed. I think there's a difference between that and political activism.
Sure. And I try not to like, relate the two things too often. It tends to, the only reason I tend to like kind of combine those two topics is only because I see the mental health issues in a lot of people's political advocacy. I see the depression and the hopelessness, and I see it clouding some people's judgment. And because personally for me, and I will admit this, because I used to be in that position and I came out of it. I don't know exactly what pulled me out of it. I really don't. Like, if you asked me to like draw you a map from where I was 3 years ago to where I am now, there would be a significant number of gaps. I would not be able to do it. So the fact is, I'm just trying to like share my perspective and hope it resonates with some people, and it has. It does. Like there's people that like, you know, I've definitely pulled some people out of that fucking doomer mindset, and I've argued with people, and there's even some people I've agreed with, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I see your perspective. And look, I do want to preface or qualify this by saying, because I've said a number of times, especially when I bring up Paul, I'm not trying to condemn these people or say they're bad people or that they're doing something wrong. I can recognize how it can not be healthy, and I'd like to help people to come to a healthier outlook where they have a slightly more balanced perspective. Even if they don't come to where I'm at.
I understand that. I have one piece of counterpoint here. This is really what concerns me, is that in the quest to get people in this current moment more mentally happy and all that stuff, I am concerned that it's giving people the wrong impression in the long term that everything's okay. And I think that a lot of those people are going to suffer some serious mental breakdowns when the next big crisis happens.
So,
like, how many people were already suffering some sort of mental crisis either when Trump was elected or when the coronavirus happened? Because they just thought that society was going to continue as it was forever.
That's absolutely true. But a lot of people, and I can say this of myself, I suffered a mental health crisis when Bernie dropped out. And a lot of this election has really fucking weighed on me. But I'll be honest, the less of a negative expectation I just have, the less I assume everything's going to be shitty no matter what. And the more I just try to be a little, because you know what? I think what I'm trying to do is just be more honest, honestly. And you might disagree and think that like I'm deluding myself, but I think that the people who go so deep into like the cynicism and shit, I think they're kind of deluding themselves because
I want to know, what do they have to gain by deluding themselves? Why would they do it?
Well, okay, I'll explain it, because honestly, when you don't have to like when you don't have to entertain hope anymore, when you don't have to entertain positivity, you can just be like, you feel as if, you know, well, okay, so it feels more like you have more of a chance of being right about stuff, because like you've got like a negative outlook, like everything is shit, so everything must continue to be shit, and I'll just be more likely to be right. I'm less likely to be disappointed if I just assume everything's gonna suck. You know, it's a protection mechanism, really, and it can be effective But the more you lean into it, it can also be very detrimental. It can, again, make you just have a negative outlook on everything, which I did for a very long time.
I mean, like, listen, I understand that, and that's also something that's very common of people just about like themselves, negative outlooks on themselves, and so it's certainly a thing that happens, and it's certainly, you know, true. I would argue though that those usually happen, like the reason people get those kinds of mental hangups is based on like real life experiential evidence. You know, it's not just something that comes up out of nowhere. Whether or not that like their experiential evidence is like outside of the fucking norm or whatever is like up for debate.
Oh no,
Yet again, I think my main concern here is just that like I think people will get like, because I honestly think the opposite. I think that people who are thinking that like, oh, you know, society's on the uptick, you know, we're all, you know, on the path to progress.
I never
you know,
said that once. Just to be clear, I've never said that. I've never said everything's okay. I've never said we're on a great path. I've never once said like the fight is over or any of that. Like,
but
I try to be very clear where I'm coming from.
The way that we're going is the correct path. We're moving forward.
There is no correct path.
It's not gonna be all right, quote unquote, but like we're moving forward and things are going good. And like I think that outlook gets people to say, "Oh, things are going good. Oh, sounds good. I'll go like watch TV or lay down or whatever. Sounds good. They don't need me."
I see what you mean. It's a very difficult balancing act because where I'm coming from, again, I think I see a lot of people do the exact opposite where they think, "Oh, well, everything sucks and nothing's good, so why bother? Why bother even trying to make things better because it's not going to be better. Just bring on the nukes." You know, and so I really do think it's a balancing act. You can't be all of one thing or the other. Like it's,
I suppose, but I would say that I think one of those people are easier to reach than the other.
Do you think a completely like pessimistic doomer is more easier to reach than a irrational optimist?
No, I'm the opposite.
Oh, you think an optimist is easier to reach?
Yes. I think it's both pretty hard, but I think that it's way easier to reach an optimist and show them how fucked up the world is and get them to go, "Oh, I didn't realize. I'm sorry."
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's complicated. I'm not trying to and again, I'm not trying to condemn people, and I'm not even trying to say that certain people's way of doing things is like completely wrong. I'm just trying to offer my perspective because, as you said earlier, like with cooking or whatever, like it takes like there's different types of people with different approaches, and
sure.
You know, I think my approach is one thing. I don't think it's the be all end all. I don't even think it's necessarily the correct approach. I will continue to work at strengthening my rhetoric and the ways in which I come at these things because I want to be better, and that's the overall theme of my channel is the thing that I'm working on, and I advocate for, and the people who watch me is just self-improvement and just being honest with yourself and trying to get better.
I do agree with the different ways of outreach. In fact, funnily enough, I had, I guess you could call it almost a conversation with Vosh about this in his chat, where he was talking about white privilege, and I said that like when it comes to outreach, like you need to avoid that term like the plague, because like people, like true or not, like people will fucking turn their brains off the second they hear white privilege.
Oh, sure.
So if you're actually trying to convince someone that they have white privilege or that it exists, you should never ever use that term. You know,
sure.
You should just use anything else. And he disagreed, and that's fair. You know, his argument was like, no, listen, you just need to describe it right. Like if they don't get it, fuck them. They don't know what the fucking definition is.
Well, okay.
And we have a disagreement there, and that's fine. Yeah, I think that he's going to reach people his way, and I'm going to reach people my way. You know what I mean?
I'm actually surprised kind of surprised he said that, because one of his biggest complaints on the left seems to be about optics, and I do think that
no, I understand. I was a little surprised too, but that's fine. You know, I'm not fucking like if people want to fucking use that word in their outreach, that's fine.
Well, look,
I just don't think that...
see, it's a good term to use in an academic setting and maybe when talking amongst lefties, but no, in terms of outreach, it's absolutely not something we should be using. I don't think we should go to a conservative and be like, you have white privilege. No, we should, and a lot of idiot lefties going around doing that is what poisoned a lot of the conversation on white privilege.
Yeah, well, and I'll give him a little bit of credit. I don't know entirely how much he fully understood my argument. Like, you know, it's just a chat comment or whatever. I think he was talking to other people as well, but like, his argument, I think at the end of the time, he was more or less in agreement. Like, he didn't like the idea of like, oh, we need to give up white privilege because the fucking right wingers use it poorly all the time. But he basically said what you said, that like, especially in an academic, context, it's totally fine. But, maybe for optics, you could do it outside of that or whatever. But whatever, it's not really important. The important part was that, Vosh has a different opinion on how to outreach people on racism than I do. And I think both of them are effective. And I think that, both of us can reach different audiences that way.
Well, exactly. I mean, look how many Nazis Vosh has pulled over. Like, whatever else you want to say about him.
And think about how many Nazis he couldn't have ever pulled over because they were immediately turned off by him. Like, there's both of that.
No, sure. And that's the thing. Those Nazis,
not to counterpoint or whatever. Just
those Nazis are going to need a different approach to pull them over. Well, I honestly look.
And there are other people doing that approach too.
Yeah, honestly, I view Vosh as extremely valuable to the left, but I don't think he's the be all end all either. I think
I disagree with Vosh every now and again, but overall I think he's pretty good.
He has a very good approach, and we need a lot more people like him, a lot more people that are willing to do what he does, but we need more people with different approaches. And that's what I'd like to be. That's what I'd like to see more people being. Like, I'd like to see more lefties grow and become like, I want to see more different approaches on display, because when you look at like atheist outreach, there's it's one of the things like they say on the Atheist Experience all the time. I don't really watch that anymore because I'm kind of done with the religion discussion, but
it's a boring conversation.
Yeah, but they would always be like, yeah, it takes different approaches. Matt has his approach, different hosts have their approach. Other shows entirely have a completely different approach.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably
those.
The best divide back in the day. You had the academic atheists and then the TJ atheists, right?
Yeah.
I mean, funnily enough, to bring it right back around to what I was talking about before, the fucking the cringy iconoclasts and the academic, jerk off people. Yeah. It existed back in atheism YouTube. There you go.
Yeah. And that's what. See, I don't want there to be more division. I want people to have that. And it kind of annoys me, by the way, just to call out fucking Matt, because he always said that. He's like, it takes all approaches, but then the TJ style of atheism, no, not that approach. The TJ style of atheism is what pulled me out of religion, so fuck you. Which is why I want us as lefties to have the same kind of attitude. Yeah, it takes all approaches. I might not agree with your approach. I might not use it, but like, as long as we're all fighting towards the same goal. Yeah, toxic masculinity is something else that needs a better label. Although,
I was gonna, I wasn't gonna bring it up, but actually, now that you mention it, I've been thinking that too. Like, I think hyper masculinity is a way better word for it, because I think saying toxic masculinity has this implication that like masculinity itself is like toxic.
Yeah, it's true.
I think like I'm not even entirely sure that that's something that's been like hijacked. I think inherently that might have just been not the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But either way, like I like the concept. I just think that maybe like a different term would be helpful.
Oh yeah, no, because when you talk about the concept, see, if you talk to most people about toxic masculinity without using that term and say, okay, well, look, there are certain societal expectations that are put on men that have an effect on their own mental well-being, like just talk to it. You can get through to a conservative man potentially by saying shit like this, like the fact that men are expected to be the breadwinner, take care of their fucking families, the fact that they're expected to push down all emotions and I mean,
Vosh was saying very interestingly enough the other day something I didn't really think about much, but totally true, that like femme boys are put in this really fucking weird fucking position that like tomboys are not, and they're sexualized to a point that it's like, pretty much anyone else, it's like there's some weird thing. It's like, oh, like people are still gonna be like weird and shit. Like there's still problems with fucking people being weird or whatever, but like there seems to be less of like a fucking barrier between people being weird with a feminine dressed man than like any other kind of like person. So like that's certainly like a weird thing. And obviously the one part of that's the most obvious, right, is like totally cool for like girls to go out in pants. Guy goes out in a skirt and it's like, what the fuck's going on with that guy?
Yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be worked on. And that's the thing. Once you can make people realize, like, this is something that affects you too. This is something that, like, it's all about outreach. And look, I'll admit I'm guilty of sometimes using the terms that people don't like. I mean, I got into an argument.
Sure.
Well,
I mean, it's hard because other people use them, so you want to like use the same terms everyone else is using, so that everyone's on the same page.
It's hard because even like the other day, like I commented on something that TJ said, and I made a comment about masculinity, but I tried to make it in a way that that I was very clear that like toxic masculinity is something that hurts men. And of course, people got all mad at me, like, "How dare you blame masculinity?" and blah blah blah. And it's so clear there's such a disconnect there.
Yeah, and I think, and yet again, I think it definitely it's just like a linguistic thing. And by the way, I do remember the 4 Horsemen of Atheism. That is some stuff that was really cool looking back in the day that like aged really cringy over time.
The 4 Horsemen of Atheism.
Yeah, dude. Do you remember back in the day they used to have them all up and they had like this really dramatic lighting and shit, and you're like, man, those guys are like so. It was like what Sam Harris, fucking Lawrence Krauss. I think Dillahunty was on it, wasn't he? There's some other guy that nobody remembers. The last guy,
wasn't it Hitchens?
Oh no, you're right. It was Hitchens. Who I don't think Dillahunty was on there. The other guy was just so memorable. I thought it was Hitchens, I guess, or I thought it was Dillahunty.
I don't know, but fuck Sam
yeah, that
Harris.
picture didn't age well. Though. It looks bad.
Yeah. I really do think Sam Harris is not a good representation of atheism at all.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I actually still listen to Sam Harris. Like, he's had a lot of bad takes, and I think a lot of that's just because he's rich. I think if he wasn't rich, he probably wouldn't have a lot of those bad takes.
Probably.
I don't think it's entirely his fault. Like, I think a lot of people think he's grifting. He's really not. Like, if you listen to his shit, he's not grifting. He genuinely believes it. He's just wrong some of the times. And a lot of the shit that he says outside of politics, like outside of like, oh, you guys, the left is getting a little bit crazy. Like, outside of that stuff, his stuff's pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, that's kind of my view on Bill Maher, honestly. I listen to Bill Maher make bad takes, and I'm just like, I don't agree with this, but you're a fucking out of touch rich person, so whatever. Your heart seems.
At least, I don't know about with Bill Maher, but like with Sam Harris, it's pretty easy to be like, all right, so here we're having a conversation about like race and politics. I'm like, all right, this is one that I should probably skip.
Yes. Yeah. Wait. I meant the 4 Horsemen of YouTube atheism. It aged even worse. Wait, what is this?
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh god!
Oh, I gotta see this.
Oh god! Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this has aged pretty fucking badly, dude. The skeptic, the scientist, the advocate, and the iconoclast. Oh my god!
That's what that post was about. I see.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, nobody should be able to call themselves an iconoclast without feeling kind of cringy. So.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, everyone join the Discord, yeah. Join the fucking Discord. That's some tasty cringe, dude. Not as bad as Atheist Scum United, dude.
that was some funny shit. Oh man, yeah. Holy shit. When was this released? Like, this was late enough for Sargon to be a thing? Jesus.
God damn. Dude, the fact that these people, aside from TJ, the fact that these people were viewed as like the fucking the representatives of YouTube atheism is kind of sad.
I think it's funny because I'm actually still subscribed to everyone here except for Sargon. But I think it's funny what happened to like the other people, like Armored Skeptic. He like basically just does like weird like like he's basically just transitioned to like, guys, here's like the evidence for UFOs, but it's probably not true. Like, I don't know, it's weird content. And then like Thunderfoot's just lost. I don't even know what to talk about his content. Like I guess he's just trying to like disprove like bad Kickstarter projects now. I don't know.
Well, wasn't he like vehemently going after like Elon Musk for a while?
Yeah, that was part of it. And to be fair, like most of the shit he goes after is like pretty dumb, but like a lot of times he's like really like over the top about how dumb it is.
Sure.
Like, like if you watch this video on the Hyperloop, like he makes some pretty solid points. Like if you're gonna have a vacuum sealed tube that runs the length of California, like aren't you a little bit afraid that like something might pop a hole in it and then like the whole thing will decompress and then the trains will explode basically?
Yeah.
So like there's legitimate concerns, but like I don't know, he goes a little bit over the top about like Elon Musk is just the biggest fucking idiot on the goddamn planet.
I agree with that.
Which he, I mean, kind of is.
He's an arrogant
but like I don't know,
douche.
he's a little bit over the top with all of it, and like
I mean,
I
he's a
think like the
YouTuber.
main issue I have with his videos at this point is they're too long. Like he could probably sum up these videos in like 5 to 10 minutes, but he's like, no, we're gonna do the 35-minute deep dive on why you shouldn't put solar panels into a road.
I mean, whatever. He's a performer. He does things his way. Clearly, there's an audience for it. It's not really my thing anymore, but
Sure.
I also,
Yeah, and I mean, like I don't watch a lot of his videos, but every now and again, I'll see what the fuck he's up to.
isn't Armored Skeptic been like hanging around like the fucking white nationalist circles?
No, not that I know of. Like, I think like maybe a long time ago, back when he was doing the anti-SJW shit with everyone else, like maybe he like bumped shoulders with some of those people, but like nowadays he's basically just gone non-political. Like he's like, I don't do SJW content anymore. I don't do right-wing, left-wing content anymore. Now I just post about UFOs and ghosts, I guess.
Because like I saw someone like trying to attack Shoe on Head and be like, "You're dating a Nazi," even though they broke up, and was like,
Yeah, they broke up.
But I was like, I haven't really seen any evidence that he's a Nazi, but maybe okay, whatever. I've never been a fan of him anyway. But let's see.
Yeah, honestly, his content, like he had probably one of the worst deliveries, I'd say,
Banana
of all
butt.
like the YouTube skeptics or whatever.
Banana butt. Dude, you should you should do you have actual banana shoes? It would be funny to like see you kick TJ's ass literally. That'd be
Yeah,
funny.
like give him instead of a fisting, give him a footing.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like how
TJ's ass.
I mean, I assume TJ probably still like pops shit up in there, but like if he hasn't for a while, I don't know if he could fit my whole foot. You know what I mean?
Actually, I remember him saying recently that he can't because he has like hemorrhoids and shit, which I feel that shit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I got the same
So he's
problems.
probably got a real tight butthole again.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry. I just got here, but what happened to Andy Worski? What? I wasn't talking about Andy Worski. But
I couldn't tell you. I don't really know a bunch about him. I tuned in like 3 times back when the kill stream shit was super popular. But like other than that, I have no idea what the fuck that guy was about.
if you want to know what happened to Andy Worski, he became a total fucking mask off Nazi, and is now.
I kind of knew about that. Like he was kind of doing that back when I was like paying attention to what he was doing.
Well, I remember back when I was watching him, and it was like around the time when like he was still doing his thing with JF, and then he fired him. He was like still like maintaining the fucking he was basically pretending, oh no I'm not a Nazi, I just in fact he was like condemning like certain like Nazi views. He'd be like, no, I don't agree with this shit, this is dumb. But he was like, Jews
kind of forget it was a little before that.
But he was also like, but Jews kind of do run everything though, I mean.
Right, he was trying to like run it out of both sides of his mouth.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's I mean the grift kind of still works like that, but it's the more the Nazis are mask off, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's really honestly a good thing.
oh yeah,
I think that mask off Nazis are like way like that's basically like putting a muzzle on them.
yeah. And
because Nazis spread best when they like when they do the fucking, you know, why do I keep wanting to say virtue signaling? It's not that. What's the other one? Dog whistling.
Yeah.
When they're able to like dog whistle and they're told that like, hey, you need to be in the fucking shadows and you do all that shit. That's when they really fucking grow. Because they take advantage of like disaffected youth that are like, oh, I have no fucking friends, I have no fucking, my family hates me, I got nothing. At least real life neo-Nazis. I think honestly, to an extent, this also is true of like online neo-Nazis too. But like these are just people with like fucking nothing going on in their lives. They're really sad. They're depressed people. And they have, you know, someone come along that's like, hey, you know, I'll be your friend. Also, by the way, you should hate the Jews.
right.
And, you know, that's a lot more effective when it's done in secret. When it's done out in the open, it's a lot harder. Like, especially like if you tell someone like, hey, you should get into like Nazism. Like if you tell them that and in a way that like they think, oh, I should be secret about it, you know, people aren't going to confront them about it. But if you do it in a way that's like, oh yeah, you know, Nazism's cool now, you just like, oh yeah, you know, maybe they'll like go and like, hey, you go to their friend circle or whatever. Hey guys, you know, I was just kind of thinking Jews aren't that cool. And then they'll get some weird looks like, what? You know, maybe that would actually give some people a time to fucking to deconvert or whatever.
Well,
but
honestly, that's kind of why like I like the fact that like more and more of like mainstream people are kind of seeing like the fucking MAGA, at least the far right MAGA extremists for what they are. And I do believe like over the next 4 years it's going to become less and less socially acceptable to have been a Trump supporter, because it's going to be more and more synonymous with fascist. And
hold on real quick. Quixotic Dragon. I understand why it's hard to take like ridiculous Nazis seriously, but remember how ridiculous the Nazis were. Like, think about it for a second. Like, it was an entire regime propped up on the idea that the Jews were naughty, and like they dressed in like all like black leather and shit, and like they like got rid of all the homosexuals despite clearly wanting to suck each other's dicks really hard, and like they all worshipped Hitler, who they thought was the peak of masculinity, even though he had a fucked up dick. Like, the Nazis were pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah, right? Like I really
being scary.
I really don't like I really think there's some like serious whitewashing that goes on when it comes to like Nazis and Hitler. Like, people look back, maybe not maybe whitewashing isn't the right
I don't
term.
know if the Nazis were competent. Why don't you, I mean, like, no, if you want, like, sorry, not you. I'm talking to the chat, but like if you take a look back, like if the Nazis were competent, then Hitler wouldn't have just told all of the fucking Germans to keep charging at the Soviets when it clearly wasn't working. You know, and it's not like that was the only thing that they could do. Like I'm a fucking history nerd. Heinz Guderian was going back to fucking Hitler and telling him like, hey, like we need to fucking hold the line. Like we can't just do that. You can't just keep pushing people forward. We don't have the equipment. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have anything. We need to hold. And Hitler said, no, push. And that's one of the reasons why they lost. There's a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Point being, they weren't exactly competent. One of the reasons they seemed so competent was the Western nations were totally like a war at that point. They just totally demilitarized and they weren't prepared for war. Anyway, total digression.
Yeah. But no, I think a big problem is a lot of people look at the Nazis, they look at Hitler through this lens of history where they're almost kind of I don't know what term you would use. I just think they're given more respect than they fucking deserve, and we don't realize that. For sure. Yeah, no, they are just as inept and bumbling and fucking idiotic as fucking Trump and his supporters today. Anyone who thinks they were some fucking brilliant fucking strategists that doesn't know shit about history. And unfortunately, that's most people. Most people are laymen when it comes to history, and they just, oh well, Hitler.
I think during the time of the Nazis, it was easier to control the narrative. So I can understand why people might think that like Trump is like more ridiculous just because like we have more examples and media and stuff.
Well,
but like I bet you if we had cameras rolling on Hitler all fucking day, there'd be all sorts of weird fucking shit. Like,
well, Hitler famously like suppressed media coverage that was anti-Hitler. Right. So like you couldn't like all these news outlets that are currently like making fun of Trump for being a big orange bumbling buffoon. They would have been doing the same thing about Hitler if they weren't going to get fucking killed.
Yeah, like if Trump had the ability to have the same kind of like journalistic control that Hitler had, we wouldn't have like, oh, Trump's an idiot, oh, Trump did this, that's dumb, oh, Trump did that, that's dumb. It would literally just be nothing but puff pieces about how Trump's the coolest person of all time.
In fact, in that version of America, I don't see how a lot more of us would probably be just Trump supporters by default because we don't have opposing narrative.
And I think both just America, like, as much as I don't want to jerk off over American democracy, it was stronger than what they had in Germany, and I mean, like, I guess on top of that, just the aftermath of World War II and like the hangover of fascism has kind of like made it a lot harder for fascism to like rise back up again. Though that's kind of, I feel like the hangover is kind of dying off though. People are starting to like, they're getting over it. They've taken their they've taken the hair of the dog that bit them, and they're ready to go again. Maybe.
Well, that's why I was hoping that at least enough people, and I do think enough people are like looking at Trump now and viewing him as a fascist that maybe we'll get that kind of hangover back, because I do feel like a lot of people are like really fucking tired of the Trump presidency, and a lot of people don't want to go back to that. I
certainly hope so too. I'm a little bit concerned that it didn't go on long enough and it didn't get bad enough, but I do hope so.
I think it got pretty fucking bad. Look how badly he handled fucking COVID. Look at the fucking BLM riots.
I mean, I agree. It's just like
his coup
you need
attempt.
that to be felt by people, and like the poor, like it was felt by the poor, but the poor were already feeling it. Like, I'm not sure if this really hit the middle classes like it needed to.
If it's gonna be the poor that rise up, if there's any kind of revolution,
but the poor can't do it on their own. That's the issue. Like that, when it came to the civil rights movement, like black people couldn't do it on their own. They needed to convince, white suburban America to fucking go out and help them.
And that's why we've got to keep working at convincing the middle class that this struggle affects them too.
I agree with that. I've just, like I said, I'm hopeful. I hope that that's going to be like, I'm not like, man, I really hope everything fucking turns out like shit, but I am a little bit skeptical.
No, sure. A healthy dose of skepticism is always a good thing. I'm like I said before, I'm not trying to tell people like everything's fine, guys, don't worry, stop worrying. Like, no, I want people to worry. I want people to still like realize the fight's not over, but look, here's where I'm coming from, dude. I really, like you said, we both have admitted this whole time, like that this fucking election cycle was draining on people, and politics in general is draining on people's mental health. It's not good. And personally, I wanted to just be able to, after Biden won, I didn't want to be just like, that work's done, it's over, but I wanted to be at least able to take a fucking break and be like, okay, we did what we needed to do for now. Let's all calm down, take a step back, and once Biden is in office, we get to work. But unfortunately, a lot of people like that didn't happen. And you could blame Trump even, because Trump would not let the election results go. A lot of people there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of infighting and just partisan bullshit and stuff going on, and so we didn't get that fucking break, and so now it feels like the fucking election cycle hasn't even ended. It's just we're in more of it now. We're in like
no, I agree with that, and that's actually something that I don't think I really anticipated it, but when it happened, I was like really fucking frustrated that the election cycle ended, and it almost seems like people are just getting ready for the next one.
And that's and that's also why I'm kind of really wary of people. I'm tired of hearing people come to me and say, "Oh, well, we gotta worry because Trump might try to run again in 2024." Okay, guys, that's fucking 4 years away. Like, there's a lot of shit that we can do between now and then. I'm not saying we shouldn't view that as a possible concern, but like.
And it'll probably happen. But I actually do agree with you here that like in the meantime, like we need, because like I said, I don't really care whether or not people vote or not. I'm more concerned about how much stock people put into voting. So like, I don't really care if people like, a month or 2 months or 3 months, maybe even 4 months before like voting happens, people want to like rail on like, hey, I think it's really important people go out and vote.
Yeah.
But like when you pull it back further and further and further, it's just,
Well, because the minute Biden got elected, then you had a bunch of people being like, see, like, and this is my problem with like the kind of what I call the doomer crowd. And I do realize there's variation in and I'm not like I do use it as kind of okay. I do view it as I use it as kind of a broad term, but my problem with that is the same people that were like, fuck you, we shouldn't vote for Biden. The minute Biden was elected, they changed their rhetoric to, oh, well, look at Biden's Supreme Court nominees, or not his, look at his cabinet picks, look at this, look at that. See, I told you voting for Biden was dumb. See, this is all, and it just felt like, oh my God, like it's not over. It's never gonna fucking end. And that's what was really fucking frustrating about it. Anyway, I should probably get going here. I didn't realize I've been actually streaming for a while.
Roger, that's fair. I think it was mostly a productive conversation.
Oh yeah, dude. I always enjoy having conversations with you, even when we disagree. I think they're usually pretty productive. I'd love to have you on again sometime to talk.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure I'll be on again. See me in the chat and whatnot.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, have a good night, good stream. Everyone in the chat, have a good one. Fuck you, the Nazis were incompetent. Bye-bye.
Yeah, they were. All right. So that's about all. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Fun little discussion with Banana Shoes. Yeah, my discussions with Banana Shoes are always fun. I really do enjoy having them on. So if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to click the like button, make sure to subscribe and share, and make sure to join the Discord, guys. If you guys want to be notified for all of my streams, join the Discord and go get here. Take a look at this, guys. If you go in the Discord and you go to the assign roles right here, you can you get a role that lets you know every time I go live, every time I upload a video. If I'm doing a guest stream or what's this one for? Oh, if we're doing a voice thing, a voice hangout. So go do that, guys, because YouTube is shitty at fucking notifying people. Really fucking shitty. If you want to be notified every time I go live, join the Discord. Do this shit. It's dope, yo. Anyway, the fucking Manson thing from the beginning. All right, guys, I love you all. Thank you for chilling. Peace out and piss off, y'all. Bye.